before it even gets to your pocket. So I'm going to talk about a quote from Murray Rothbard. He's a sort of philosopher, political philosopher, you might want to say. So I'm just going to say this. Like the robber, the state demands money at the equivalent of a gunpoint. If the taxpayer refuses to pay, his assets are seized by force, and if he should resist such deprivation, he will be arrested or shot if he should continue to resist. This is exactly how it works, and this is exactly how tax works, and it's absolutely outrageous. If you earn money, you have to pay tax. Half of that's wasted instantly on useless things, which I won't even get into, and you have no choice in the matter. Now, that leaves the question, is there anywhere where you don't pay tax? There actually is. There's 10 countries, around 10 countries, with zero income taxes. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't have any tax, but zero income tax. It's the UAE, Oman, Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, countries like that in the Middle East, Brunei in Africa, Cayman Islands, Bahamas, and this just goes to show that you don't have to have taxes to have a successful economy, because they have zero income tax. Now, admittedly, I'm not saying that these countries don't pay tax. The guys in these countries don't pay tax, because they actually do. The thing is, they have to pay a sort of a levy to Social Security. I can't think of the name off the top of my head, but essentially you have to pay for protection from the state and that sort of thing. But it isn't based on your income. Now, for me, that seems justifiable, because everyone pays to be ruled by the state, and in return they offer protection. Now, that sounds great, but I wish that could be implemented into most countries today. For example, why should tax be progressive? Why should someone who earns more be taxed more just because they earn more? If someone can be asked to go and find a higher paying job, why should they be taxed more than someone who can't or doesn't? That is, I think it's completely outrageous. For example, so going back to these 10 countries that don't pay income tax, then they're all paying the same tax in a way. Forget corporation tax, but they're paying a tax for Social Security, which is fair enough. I think that is justifiable, and it is true that these countries have oil and gas and tourism to sell in order to get money for the government. However, if you really think about it, just because how it works here in the UK is you get taxed because you earn more. So in many ways you're not earning more because you're paying more tax than someone who's earning less. So what's the point in having different salaries? Why isn't everyone on a single salary? Oh, there we go, communism. And we all know how that turns out. So if your choice is communism, a set tax rate, or no tax, my personal choice is no tax. Obviously, realistically, I would go with the flat tax rate for everyone, the same tax rate, maybe 5%, or just have equal incomes, which isn't going to work, of course. So that concludes today's episode. Thank you all for listening. I know it was a bit of a long one, just me going on about one, but I think it really is an important point to get across that taxation is theft. I really do believe it is, and hopefully I'll try and figure out a way in the future. Well, actually, screw that. I'm just not going to live in the UK because it's an absolute waste of time. What's the point in earning money if half of it instantly goes to the tax man? Stupid. So thanks everyone for listening. As always, if you have any questions, email in at reviewoftheweekpodcast@gmail.com. I'll happily respond to any of them. Any questions or suggestions, I'll happily incorporate them into the next podcast. Thank you for listening. Peace.